Jesus is now.
Greetings in the name of the Lord. I want to thank you today for joining us for our daily bread, which is a Bible study, and we endeavor to teach the whole counsel of God and the Word of God in such a way as make practical applications for your life. We trust you'll enjoy it today, and so we ask you, if you're able to, visit us at www.radiogcn.com, and if possible, make a love gift to assist us in serving the Christian community. And we thank you for listening. God bless you. Greetings to my friends and listeners alike. I'd like to talk today in a brotherly way about a dear subject to our hearts, and I think of the most timely importance, possibly even the most delicate and instrumental debate and ideology that would be worth considering in our modern times, possibly the most important of all. And today's message and discussion is on a house divided cannot stand. Well, we know that Abraham Lincoln said this, and so we have to give some credit to our 16th president. Of course, that actually came from Christ in the New Testament. So Lincoln was quoting Jesus when he said, "A house divided cannot stand." And let's look at this in a way that transcends our sensitivities and our own personal perceptions of how this might be applied to our particular situations, both small and great, and rich and poor. This applies to every person in the country and is of the utmost importance. So we'll begin our discussion about division. The devil, we know in the scripture, is divisive. He likes to divide things. In our modern natural world, though, speaking outside of the spiritual, there is divisions among our people. Divisions along the race lines, along politics, Republican, Democrat, Tea Party, divisions in our churches. There's divisions in our government, and there's divisions in agencies of the government, and there's divisions in Congress, and there's divisions in the Supreme Court, and there's divisions among corporations and businesses, and divisions among intellectuals and education systems and ideologies and theologies. So everywhere we look, there's divisions in our modern world. Now, another word for division in our modern vernacular is vulcanization. And vulcanization, simply put, is where everybody gets pushed over into their little corner. And so there's no glue that holds the groups together. They're all diametrically opposed to each other and are all ripe for rock throwing. And so a third party can come in and throw the rock to the party on the left, and instantly they will assume that it come from the party on the right, and then those two parties will go engage each other in their opposition to each other. So it's self-defeating in the fact that it will pin group against group, whether it be race or religion or government or agency or education. So the cornering of ideologies into corrugated groups is divisive in its own purest form. Is nothing but division and divisiveness. Now let's look at this more deeply in our brief analysis of this. It says that in Proverbs that the Lord hates he that soweth discord among the brethren. Now, we probably can't agree on everything. That's normal. But we could probably all agree, of Christian world, that all of our lives throughout the world, all families go back to that Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve. And we probably can agree on that. I hope so. Well, if that be true, and we believe it is, then we're all brothers and sisters. And so then if you want to micromanage that, you can take it down to a national level. We all attest to the Star Stripes and our banner, the flag, Old Glory. And we all say we pledge allegiance to it. We all agree on our Constitution. We all agree on our Bible, that is the Word of God. We all agree on so many things. But then we retreat into our vulcanized groups and use our knowledge to attack other vulcanized groups and other divisions. Well, when we do that, then we're not acting very much like brothers and sisters. And we're not acting like Americans. And I'm going to develop that idea more as we go. But basically it's un-American. America throughout history has been known as a people of hospitality and understanding and acceptance. And we would live by the golden rule, do unto others you'd have others do unto you. And that was the golden rule of our country. And everybody believed in it. They might not have went to church. They might have been in the saloon, or they might have been this, that, and the other, but they believed in do unto others as you would have others do unto you. They believed in being good toward each other. So you could walk down the street and it didn't matter if he was black or white, you'd say, hey. And it didn't matter if he was a Presbyterian or a Baptist, you would say, the Lord bless you. That was good to see you. How's your family? It's just kindness, just mutual kindness. We were the envy of the world because of that one characteristics that we've all shared throughout our history as a nation for 239 years. That has been true. And it is historically true of this country. So then we have to look at how things are playing out in our modern world and what's making these things come to pass. Okay, let's look at that verse again. He says that he that soweth discord, the Lord hateth he that soweth discord among the brethren. So we have groups and individuals, and they have a term for that. It's called agent provocateur. Basically, a person would be sent in to pin these two groups against each other, and for either financial or political advantages, or for religious advantages, or for secular advantages, educational advantages, benefit to the institution or to the agency or to the program. And so they're already planning and plotting on how they might pin groups against each other. And then we just ho-hum and walk right into it. And we don't, because if we're going to maintain our American supremacy, we have to change the way we're acting and the things we're doing to each other and to our agencies and to our governments and to our constituents and to our educational systems and our race issues. We have to change the way we perceive right and wrong in relations to those that don't hold our viewpoints. And there's a saying that all's fair in love and war, but all's not fair in love and war. What's right is what we want to do as Americans. Americans are known to do what is right. Okay, so let's look at the need for this for unity in an organization. The need for one purpose, one determined plan, one determined mission, a goal setting for an organization, and how this is playing out in our modern world. Now this is not really a positive thing mentioned in the Bible, but it involves the Tower of Babel and the people that were building it. Now naturally the Lord didn't like the Tower of Babel, And so, but he said something so we don't glorify it. But he said something interesting when he come down to confuse the languages. He said that let us go down and confuse the language, because these people have become of one mind and one accord, and nothing they imagine will be impossible to them. So, in a negative term, the Lord had to take action about that because they were going the wrong way and all that. But that statement applies to our modern systems and is systemically important in order to uphold the institutions that we care so much about. You see, if we get ourselves on one mind and one accord, then nothing will be impossible to us as Americans. As a nation, nothing would be impossible to us. And you think about the great civilizations of Troy and Greek and Sparta and the Romans, and you see, and perhaps even our mindset in the Revolutionary War and in the World War II. We had come to get, those are examples of people that had come to one mind and one accord. And nothing was impossible to these people. That's why we won World War II. Is because we had one determined plan that we was going to stop Nazism and we were going to stop the Japanese Empire. And that one thing caused us to raise up in our might and do it. So this is essential then that we as Americans stop the infighting and become of one mind and one accord. And that doesn't mean you can agree with your adversary or your opposition or their theology or their Republican or Democratic platform or their race assertions or lack thereof, or you might not agree with them, but we can agree that they're Americans, and that as Americans, their viewpoints are important. We will consider them. We will take them to heart. We will try our best to work out a compromise, a concession, an agreement, an understanding, so that their needs are met while we are protecting what our pet peeves are at the same time. In other words, sure, there's opposition, but there's ways to overcome opposition if we stop and think about it and think through the issues and get out of the emotional state and out of the anything that would drive you to demand that it was your way or the highway. There's no other way. Your way's perfect, and that's just the way it is, because that's an unreasonable attitude as an American, and it's self-defeating, and it doesn't serve the interests of our country. And it's time for our people to put our country first again. We put everything first in its place. We put our homes, we put our cars, we put our finances, our bank accounts, we put our political parties, our educational alma maters. We put our pet peeves first. We put everything first, but we don't put our government first anymore. We don't put our nation first anymore. We don't put our fellow men first anymore. We don't put the Lord first anymore. We don't put anything first anymore. We just have a whole loose confederation of all kinds of ideologies, and we play out our emotion on them any way we see fit, and division and vulcanization is the result. And we have to stop seeing things that way, because it's divisive, it's hurtful, and it renders an organization or any type of endeavor to produce less than its capability, and it endangers the future happiness and success and future of our country. We cannot allow division and strife and contention to cause us to fall from within. And that would be within the country, within the organization, within the theological movement, within the educational system, within the government, within our agencies, within our people, within our families, within our churches, within our systems, our organizational structures. And that's what is happening. That is a true assessment of what is happening. Now, infighting diminishes the results of an organization. It will nullify the results of an organization. It will diminish its outcome and its potential. It will hold its true capabilities from being realized. It will chew up and eat up vital capital and means and persuasions and capabilities and future advances of their overall mission to do this or that, whether it be on their behalf or behalf of their constituencies, behalf of their departments, on behalf of their agencies, on behalf of their churches, or on behalf of whatever their structure and organization entails. So it is critically important that we stop infighting. And the infighting itself causes a need for redundant systems. So in other words, we want to do one thing and we hire a managing staff to do that, and then we hire an advertising staff to do that, and then we hire another staff to watch the advertising staff and to report its conclusions, and then we hire somebody else to watch the watchers of the advertising to make sure that we're controlling the grapevine and the outcome of the project. And so then we're tripling and quadrupling the cost of the production of the product, thereby raising the prices and reducing the profit margins and reducing its impact on the market, and causing people to go to China where they don't have that problem anymore. Because now our product is so high because of all the labor cost, that and all the infighting has driven up the cost of production and transportation and delivery and marketing and management to the point that the product is overpriced. So it gets into your pocket and causes your prices to go up. And it requires redundant systems to manage. And it takes resources away from the primary mission that you had to start with. And so here in other words, we're having to think and rethink and double think and triple think an idea or concept because of all the fact that we can't treat each other like brothers and sisters, and we can't operate in unity anymore. And it's a great detriment to us and our organizations and our families and our churches and our government. So now let's look at some other things here in closing. I want to talk about how we're the envy of the world, and this is the greatest country on earth, and that how by our very founding fathers and our founding documents we have the most advanced and the most capable nation in the earth, and all nations look to this nation for its greatness and for its leadership, and we're the envy of the entire world. So they envy us because of our prosperity and our past success. But that's my point today, is that we're living on borrowed time. And we're living on borrowed money because we're spending the assets that our forefathers produced. And while we're, as siblings, we're squabbling over the way that this inheritance that was given to us by our forefathers transcends into our normal everyday life. But at the same time, we're mortgaging the future of our children to pay for our indulgences and for our weaknesses and for our mismanagement and for our lack of understanding. And if you want proof of that, you can look at the Sears Tower. It was built in the 50s, I think it was, right? I could be wrong, possibly the 30s, but it's a great building. But a past generation built that. And what are we building for our future so that we can give the America that we received over to our children so that they can have the same America we got? In other words, we're slowly chopping away at everything that's beautiful about this country. And we're not fixing it on a path where it can propagate itself for posterity reasons, so that our country and our culture and our churches and our government and our industries and our businesses is in decline. And if we don't stop and think about this and stop this and give our hearts back to the idea that we're Americans and we're going to work things out and we're going to get of one mind and one accord, then we're not going to have America to give to our next generation. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because we have enemies. And they hate us. They hate America. We know them by name. ISIS, for one example. There's multitudes. I can't even go through the list. It's so long. The Russians hate us. Everybody hates us. Iran hates us. But see, they're going to, an enemy's going to play on your weaknesses. And this is American weakness. It's a weakness of mind. It's a weakness of character and determination. That we're going to be good, God-fearing Americans. We're going to get along and figure out our differences, and we're going to work together, and we're going to work through our problems, and we're not going to let no other country in the world destroy us. See, that's the right heart about us. We're Americans. We got to carry that to victory, or we're going to carry it to defeat. One way or the other, we're going to carry one way or the other. Either we come together in unity, or we to victory, or we come in division to defeat. And so we need to understand that we have an enemy, and these enemies will use our differences and our shortcomings to hurt our country. And I just ask you to ask yourself today: are you an American? Well, this is your country. Are you going to let that go on in your heart? And let's don't point fingers, because it doesn't matter what other people do. It only matters what you do. And are you going to let this continue in your heart? Are you going to help this message be spread so somebody will get the idea that we need to change some of the ideologies and perceptions of reality that we've been deceived into thinking? And that we might apply ourselves to do better toward unity in this nation, in our institutions, in our agencies, in our systems, in our families, in our churches. Okay, well, just keep in mind that if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. And these enemies want to identify our weaknesses and divisions and capitalize on these divisions so that they can take advantage and weaken the resolve of our nation to have supremacy in the 21st century. And we need to strengthen the founding virtues of the 20th century, the things that were right about us in the early 1900s, say 1915, just 100 years ago. Was that Americans loved each other. We wasn't perfect, but we loved each other. And there's no love in our street community. There's very little in our churches. There's no love in our government. Everybody's forgotten about loving America. And we need to love our country again. And we need to heal wounds. We don't need to be throwing salt on wounds or opening wounds. We need to be bandaging them up and putting ointment on them and raise up our foundations of this country and the good things, the paths to dwell in, and be a restorer of the breach where we've broken it down our places, and raise up our foundations that made us great to start with, like we had in 1915. And here we are 100 years later. What would you say to someone that was born or was, say, 20 years old in 1915? What would you say to that person that would encourage them that you're carrying out the love of our country the way they carried out the love for the country when they were 20 years old in 1915? Would it compare? I say it would not compare at all. We have to love our country, because it's the old saying, you love it or lose it. And we need to love our country so we don't lose it. And division is a cancer. And like any cancer, it has to be surgically removed. So I pray you'll take this lesson to heart and use it in your circles and talk to your people and work through your systems and see if you can't help with the mission to bring unity back to our churches and to our government and to our agencies and to our fellow homes and to our fellow man, to our businesses and to our objectives and our missions, and help America and love America so we can give it to our children. Now, I speak these things as a friend, and I'm not the judge. It's just an analytical review, and it may or may not touch your heart. I hope it does. But I'm not giving out condemnation, nor am I trying to judge. I'm just observing and reporting to you as a brother and as a friend. And I trust you'll take this to heart and use it to make impact in your world, and that you'll bring it and make impact in our country, and that you will help me to love America again. And this is your friend speaking. I bless you. Have a good day and be blessed. Amen. I trust you were blessed and encouraged by our Bible study today. Please visit us at www.radiogcn.com. If possible, please make a love gift to help us serve the Christian community. Visit us again so we can continue with other Bible studies and other messages, and we thank you for visiting us today.
Because I love thee, I know thou art mine. For thee all the follies of sin I
is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. When darkness veils His lovely face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. His oath, His covenant, His blood support me in the whelming flood. When all around my soul gives way, He then is all my hope and stay. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. He shall come with trumpet sound. Oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, faultless to stand before the throne. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness.
Would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you or evil a victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you be free from your passion and pride? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Come for a cleansing to Calvary's tide. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you be wider, much wider than snow? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Sin stains are lost in its life-giving flow. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you do service for Jesus your King? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you live daily His praises to sing? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb.
O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with songs. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods.